The average Main Street retailer has sales of only about $80 a square foot per year. And you should measure your sales per square foot per year. The industry average is about $220 a square foot per year for most categories. Jewelry stores have about $500 a square foot per year. Every category is slightly different. This is important because rents are 10% of sales as a rule of thumb. So a well-managed retailer takes advantage of that 8-second rule. The merchandise has to convey a very complex, complicated message within a second and a half. Your display has to say, this appeals to me, stop, turn right, and go into the store. And I'll just show you some of the basics. The lights in this store are tiny, so you don't squint. They don't have fluorescent lights. The backdrop of the store window has been removed so that the entire store is displayed. These sweaters are stacked up there to make it look to you like the delivery truck just came. Lucky you, they got a fresh supply of sweaters. They'll have your size and your favorite color. And there's dozens and dozens of subtle messages. By the way, it costs about $35,000 a year to do the average window at this level. Many of you could do it yourselves, though. We have to pay a designer $35,000 per year per window to do these windows. They're very expensive. It's worth it because we get higher sales. Most of you could probably do this yourselves, though. Now, these two schools of thought are being applied to new town centers. There's one school of thought that says make the buildings well designed with good proportions, but make the streetscape simple, like in Europe. Put all the glamour on the merchandise in the storefront. There's another school of thought that says make the town centers very festive. You know, make every building have a clock tower. Every light pole have lots of lights. Every signpost have lots of ornamentation. The difficulty is that these are not performing very well. Most lifestyle centers today are not meeting sales expectations, in part because of that mistake. This is the way we think to achieve higher sales per square foot, by actually going back to traditional town planning principles, like this. Look at this Italian plaza. It's very, very plain, very good for retail. Now this is what's happened to my industry. This is new construction. We are going this way. There will be no retail construction for the next 2 to 3 years, at least. The largest retailers in the United States are Penny's, Albertsons, Costco, Sears, Target, Kroger, and Home Depot in terms of gross sales per square foot. This is Walmart. They are the largest retailer in the world in every category, including shoes, tires, food, groceries, sporting goods, you name it. They sell more of it, even diamonds. I don't know how many of you buy your diamonds at Walmart, but they're the largest in every category. About 9 out of every 10 Americans visits Walmart at least twice a year, and at least half of Americans go to Walmart at least once a week. I don't know if that's true in this room or not, but on average, that's why Walmart does so well. Walmart is loved by most Americans. They're not loved here, I'm sure. I'm not particularly a fan of them. Most Americans like them. I worked with them in Mississippi right after the hurricane, and they opened their pharmacy within 12 hours of the hurricane. And they gave away free prescriptions to anybody that had any proof that it was legal. They had a whole store opened. This store was destroyed. The wave came through the front of the store and washed all the merchandise out the back of the store. Okay, the wave covered this building. But Walmart opened this temporary store within 48 hours. They beat the National Guard by a week coming to this town. And it was air conditioned with freezers. By the way, the #1 thing that sells when you have a hurricane or a disaster the number one thing they sell are Pop-Tarts for some reason. Retailers are beginning to find that the growth potential are in cities. One of the big changes in the last 6 months is that retailers do not like to go to the edge, to the suburbs, where they're promised that there will be growth. They do not believe anymore that the new housing will be built. They like markets, this has been a huge change, they like markets where they can count the toes now, not on an if-come basis. Now, I'm trained as a landscape architect. I went to the University of Michigan, and I learned this business by working for as an urban planner for a shopping center developer. And one of the first things they did was they had to make me unlearn all of the basic retail principles, planning principles I learned. For example, this is a picture of an ideal urban planning success story. There's lots of people in a square, it's very festive, it's very nice. The downside is all of these retailers are empty around the square, and these are the lowest rents in this city. And these are the reasons why. Shoppers won't go up steps. You can't see these storefronts because of the awnings. Shoppers don't like to touch other people. Guys like him give them the willies, so they won't squeeze through there. These awnings and trees block the storefronts. There's a number of things here that make for good urban planning that actually make it very difficult for a shopping district to work. I've worked for Rodale Drive in Beverly Hills, for example. Their sidewalks are concrete sidewalks. Your sidewalks are concrete, which is a very progressive idea to do that. In Monte Carlo, their sidewalks are concrete but broken and in disrepair, but they have some of the highest retail in the world. What do these two pictures have in common, though? They have lots of parked cars. Every one of these cars represents between $200,000 and $300,000 a year in sales, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Shoppers like this. When they see a fresh-looking downtown, it tells them that they're buying good merchandise and that they're getting good service at a fair price. Before a shopper decides to go into your downtown, they believe that everything they buy will cost 20 to 30% more than the mall. It's not true, it's not fair, but they get these messages that say it's more expensive to shop here. And when they see a downtown like this, they get a message that's saying not only is it more expensive, but I'm buying bad, out-of-date merchandise and I'm getting bad service. And your downtowns have to be well maintained, and Santa Cruz is a good example of how to do that. This is an extreme example. This is in Beverly Hills, where they have $4,000 trash cans. And she actually is getting her picture taken by that trash can. People line up to get their photos taken by the garbage cans in Beverly Hills. And, you know, they're nice, but my business is very trendy. And we want you to actually throw out your streetscape, or I should say recycle your streetscape about every 10 years and update it, even if it just means changing the color, because you have to look trendy. Now, most towns that I go to tell me that they want only small, independent, one-of-a-kind retailers in the downtown, that their identity is closely tied to having retailers that you can't find anywhere else. So what that means is they want shops that sell things that only appeal to a very small niche of people. Basically shops that sell things that we don't need. Many small retailers that we like are not very sophisticated retailers. I've seen that today in Santa Cruz. Retailer after retailer that I saw, with maybe 2 exceptions, are guys like Andy. Andy is a well-intended retailer in Baltimore, but Andy was about to go out of business. He was going to have to close his store because the city wouldn't give him permission for any more open signs. Okay? Andy was fighting the city for a year to have a 8x8 flashing neon sign that said open. And since the city planning department wouldn't give him that permit, he said, I'm closing. And so they brought me in to help Andy. And what we found was Andy's real problem was that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he was losing customers. And up until 1 o'clock, he was doing fine. So we took Andy across the street and asked him, well, what do you do differently at 101 that you don't do at 12:59? And he said, well, the only thing I do is I close the blinds on my store and shut the door. Okay? So that's why I get paid the big money. So I said, okay, Andy, why do you close the blinds? And he said, well, there's a Pepsi machine here, and it overheats when the sun shines on it. And I've been waiting for 7 years for the guy that delivered it to come back and move it, and he's been too busy. So we said, Andy, you've got a lot more problems than that. These are your problems. You've got dead flowers, actually dead mammals in his window. Duct tape was holding up his window. Store was unpainted. Plus, nobody knew what he sold. Can you guess what Andy sells? He's a deli operator, okay? So for about $100, we fixed these problems for Andy. And, you know, we pulled in the oldest trick of the book is I helped him move the machine. We put little cafe tables in the window. And then we instructed him to sit the attractive people in the window, and the unattractive people like me, you sit in the back of the store where nobody can see them. And you pull tables outside, because that's a great sign saying I sell good food and I'm open for business. And Andy was able to triple his business, 3 times his business in 90 days for $120. And that's the level of detail that shopping malls and national retailers give their stores. Very simple, but very direct and effective advice. Now, the national retailers know this. Nationals know that 9 out of 10 of you turn right when you go into the store. You want to turn, except in Australia, you turn left. And you want to walk counterclockwise. And you will not buy anything more than 48 inches off the floor, and you won't buy anything less than 18 inches off the floor. The buy zone is very narrow. You're 3 times more likely to touch these if they're folded than if they're on a hanger. If they're on a hanger, they look like they're discounted merchandise, like the thing you buy at Target or Walmart. They know that you won't go down cul-de-sacs. They know if the back of the store is painted a dark color, preferably an earth tone color, that more of you will go all the way back to the store than if it's painted a light color. They know that if they put the large sizes on top and the small sizes on the bottom, more people will try them on for some reason. God knows why. And they manipulate you around the store like moths in the woods. They light things. They'll light up to 6 things to manipulate you around the store. It's a very controlled environment. And today, they're putting something on sale every day of the week. They're putting the good stuff on sale, and they're boasting about it. They're putting large, well-made signs that are framed. And as soon as you walk into that store, they want you to see 3 good things on sale. It doesn't matter if it's only 15%, but they want you to think there's good value in this store, and they know if they can get you to buy something once, you'll keep buying once you're there. Now, the red, this color of red, does something to the brain. It causes a chemical reaction in the left side of your brain, which tells the right side of your brain to grab the wallet and get out the credit card and buy. There's something about that band of red. This type of lighting is very important. This is what we call coarsely grained merchandise. You put large merchandise that can be seen from the front to the back of the store. This is the front and center table. The front and center usually accounts for 25 to 35% of the sales every day. In fact, managers will get fired, store managers will get fired if 25% of the sales don't come off this table. These are changed once a week. And these are made in direct view from outside of the store, so you can see that front and center table, and that makes it a must-see, so you must go into that store. Once you get in the store, then we take over, we put it on cruise control, and we just manipulate you all the way through the store.